If you've spent any time watching woodworking on YouTube, you've probably heard never take more than a 1/16 of an inch off when jointing. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not always true. The problem is, a lot of advice about jointers is simply repeated over and over by people who don't actually understand how to really get the most out of a jointer. So in this video, I'm breaking down some common jointer myths that lead woodworkers astray, and I'll show you the hows and, more importantly, the whys of using a jointer properly. Let's start with depth of cut. How often do you hear take a 32nd or a 1/16 max? Now sure, on a small benchtop jointer, that might actually be good advice, but the reality is, depth of cut depends on two things: the machine's capacity or capabilities, and what's required for the specific board being jointed. Horsepower, cutterhead diameter, how rigid or heavy the machine is, all of that determines how much material can be removed in a single pass. The next thing to consider is the material itself. If, for example, you've got a board with a lot of twist, taking deeper cuts actually makes more sense. In doing so, you end up with a bigger flat surface on the board that references on the outfeed table, resulting in fewer passes to get a flat board. Compare that to taking a greater number of light cuts, where any small movement or adjustment in your pressure can result in rocking of the board, making it all the more difficult to take that twist out. Another time where I might take a deeper cut is on a bowed board or a board with a crook that I'm jointing the edge on. To make that edge straight, it makes sense if my jointer can take a deeper cut to do so and reduce the number of passes. If I were to take a 32nd or a 1/16 each pass, I wouldn't end up with a better result. I'd simply take more time to get a straight edge on the board. Now, I'm not saying you should take the deepest cut possible every time, but what I am saying is that there's no magic number. The machine and the material should determine the depth of cut, not some rule you heard online. Another thing I often see repeated is always apply pressure on the outfeed table. For lighter material, that's true, but with something like this, the weight of the board is already holding it down. If you're forcing pressure here, you're not necessarily helping. And in fact, you might actually be making it harder by creating more friction between the material and the table. It's not always about pushing or applying pressure. It's about understanding where and when it matters. You'll also hear always joint with the grain. And yes, that's great advice. The problem is, the grain doesn't always run in the same direction for the entire length of a board, especially where you're jointing much longer boards. And sometimes it can even change direction multiple times, making picking which way to run the board a lot more difficult. So what do? You compromise. You take lighter cuts. If the board is short enough, you might try skewing it slightly. Just remember, the goal isn't to get a perfect finish straight off the jointer. It's getting the board flat and ready for the planer. Running the board through the planer brings the opposite face into parallel with the jointed face. And when you flip the board and run the jointed face through as well, you end up with a much cleaner surface and with less tear out than what you get straight off the jointer by hand. So let's talk now about setup, because this is where it can get confusing. There is one hard rule, and that is that your knives need to be at or slightly above the outfeed table. If the cutters are too low in relation to the outfeed table, the board won't pass easily onto the outfeed table, and you'll end up taking less off the front end of the board and more off the back. If the cutters are too high, you'll get snipe on the tail end, and in either case, getting a flat board becomes much more difficult. On a jointer with straight knives, the knives themselves are adjustable. On a jointer like mine, the knives are fixed, so the outfeed table needs to be adjusted to match the cutting circle. So that part of the setup is not up for debate. Now, table alignment. And most people hear the tables must be perfectly coplanar. And well, yes, if you want a perfectly flat joint, that's absolutely true. For some processes, though, you don't actually want a flat joint. For certain glue-ups, you might actually want a concave or a convex joint. And on very high-end machines, this can be easily adjusted with either a hand wheel or in some cases a lever. On most machines, mine included, setting the tables for a flat or spring joint is a much more involved process, and because of this, it's usually set for the joint you're after and left at that. So you won't need too many tools to set up your jointer, but at a bare minimum, you'll need a good quality straight edge and a set of feeler gauges. Other machines use dovetail ways where shims are used to adjust the tables. So perfectly coplanar tables give flat joints, where slight variations give a spring joint. And neither is wrong, it just depends on the job. Finally, something rarely mentioned, you don't always need to remove the bow. Things like baseboards or casings, for example, just need one flat reference face off the jointer. The board then goes through the planer on the opposite face to bring it into parallel, and the bow remains. But once it's nailed to the wall, that bow disappears. Flattening everything perfectly isn't always necessary. The job at hand will dictate what's required. So if there's one thing I hope you take from this video, it's that understanding how and why matters way more than just having the tools or memorizing what others say works. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.